Victoria Robinson. Welcome to the Popverse, where today we are joined by the king of writer's block, the absolute reason why the House on the Cerulean Sea is everyone's favorite book talk content, and somebody I'm very excited to welcome today. TJ KLUNE is here with us!
Hello! Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
What's it like to be the most popular author at a Comic-Con?
Yeah.
Why are you God's favorite?
Well, seeing as how I did a panel last night with Sylvia Moreno Garcia and Cassandra Clare, I don't know if that's quite true, but let's say for some reason that it is. It feels pretty damn good. It feels pretty damn good, especially since, you know, I live in Washington State. So if I get to be the king of Emerald City Comic Con for the writers, then I will accept that crown gladly.
And the noble responsibility.
Yes, exactly. That it comes with. I mean, if there's responsibility, we'll have to talk. I just like wearing a crown because I look good.
Ooh, you know what? Next time we'll have a crown for
you. Thank you. That's right. And it, you know, it could even be a tiara if that's what we're going for. It's fine. Ooh. Whatever. I'm
maybe
game.
with a nice little wolf in there.
Yes. There you go. There you go. We got this.
Speaking thereof, wolves are really, really prominent throughout your work. Are they your favorite animals? Do they just speak to your soul? Tell me about that.
They do, because when I was a kid, I was born and raised in rural Oregon, and when I was a kid, the biggest thing that I had going for me was the Douglas County Library.
Yes.
And so I would go to the library to read anything and everything. When I was a kid, I found this thing about wolves that talked about how ravens and wolves form a symbiotic relationship where ravens will warn wolves of any other dangers that are around them, and the wolves in turn, as they're scavenger animals, the ravens will eat the remains of whatever the wolves have killed like that, and they have this weird symbiotic relationship. And for some reason, it electrified my mind in ways that only it can for a kid. You know, I was a kid, I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard. And so I just grew up remembering that fact, and it turned out to play a part in some of my books.
What I feel like you've revealed to us is that you are Odin reincarnated, ravens and wolves. That's pretty suspicious, DJ.
I know, it is. I still, despite many attempts, I still have not made friends with a crow or a raven and have them like follow me around and be my best friend.
Okay, we can't hyper-focus on that because then we're going to start talking about crowbox techniques.
I know.
I am also obsessed.
As if I don't watch so many Instagram videos of crows pulling things from puzzles and everything like that. Going, you go, bird, you go.
Plug for everyone, if you're not watching Crows Are Here,
yes,
that's the best thing on Instagram.
This is so good.
Okay, but back to your work and why you're the king of Emerald City Comic Con. As the silent B in the LGBTQIA2+, I really appreciate your bisexual rep in your work, and you do an amazing job at having tons of romance that hits everyone in the queer umbrella. Is that something that you do intentionally, or do these characters just come up and reveal their love to you?
It can be a mixture of both, but first and foremost, you know, I write for anybody who wants to read my books, but I'm thinking first and foremost of my queer audience when I do write my books, because my books are by a queer person, about queer people, and for queer people. And you know, the queer community comes in all different shades and varieties and colors and labels, and it's so important to actually put that. Like, think for example in the Lives of Puppets. That was a book that came out a couple of years ago, and the main character in that is asexual. I'm asexual. So to be able to put that kind of representation into a book that's released by a major publisher in hardcover and then goes on to get on the New York Times bestseller list is remarkable, because look, you don't know if there's somebody out there who thinks himself broken for some reason because they don't feel things the way that others are supposed to. And so, you know, I'll give a very good example. At a convention I was at last year, I had a father come up to me to get a book signed for his daughter who couldn't make it. And it was in the Lives of Puppets, and he said that his daughter had given him that book to help him understand her asexuality.
Oh, that's
because he
so
didn't understand
beautiful.
what that meant. And by reading that book, he was able to have a better idea of what it meant to be an asexual person. And he was grateful that I had written that book for his daughter to be able to give to him. You know, it's not just about the immediate readers who pick up your book. It's about how they talk about your books, whether they love them, dislike them, or if a certain part of the book means something so special and it can help others around them understand who they are. That's so humbling, but it is so extraordinary at the same time.
So it's not just about how shippable it is and whether or not it's going to make a tag on AO3 or fanfiction.net.
Right. It's about showing my readers that I see all of them however they come, however they are as people. I see them and I want them to know that I will do my best to make sure that they are represented in my work, because there's magic in being able to see yourself in a written word.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think is your most shippable couple? Because according to Reddit, it's one of three.
Okay.
It's either Mark and Gordo, Joe and Ox, or Carter and Gavin. Correct or incorrect?
That is probably right. Those are all from the Green Creek series.
Yes.
And that series is known for mentally and emotionally destroying many, many people.
Correct.
My favorite out of those three, and probably one of the favorite couples I've written, is Mark and Gordo.
Aww,
because they are men in their 40s, and they are jackasses. They are. Gordo is rightfully so. He's very angry. Mark, rightfully so, is very hurt. And it's this idea that after all this time, because they grew up together, but after all this time, there's still something there, even if it's tinged with anger and regret and even maybe a little bit of hatred. But then you still find a way to come back to each other, not because you're meant to, but because you work at it to be able to come back together and do that. I love them because they're such jerks. They're such jerks to each other, and I love them so much.
But even though they are fully adult men with credit scores, they're still babies.
They are. Well, and that's how they act like. Because think about it. When you're hurt, you don't always act the best when somebody hurts you.
Look, I don't know about you, but I'm a perfect flawless human being.
I try not to show anything in my face, but you can sure shit bet I'm plotting revenge in my head, thinking, I could kill you off in a book so easy. You have no idea. I could put you in a book and just be, bam, you're gone.
Wait, have you killed off your enemies?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you use their full government names, or do they get pretend names?
No. Well, for example, like in Somewhere Beyond the Sea, the sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea, the villain of that is Janine Router, just because I couldn't call her J.K. Rowling. So
look, this is the year we all finally take Harry Potter houses out of our bios.
Please. You know what? No, here's my thing. If that brings you joy and that brings you happiness, and you're able to separate that from the transphobia that goes on, more power to you. But at the same time, just know that there are so many queer and trans authors out there writing books about magic that you could read instead and not feel bad about supporting someone who wishes an entire population was gone. The end.
I really admire the restraint and respect with which you said that.
Well, look, when it comes to the LGBTQ community, particularly trans people who are some of the most vulnerable, I will not hold back, because they have always been here and they will always be here, and without trans people, we wouldn't be here. So
yeah, you're simply a fool to think otherwise.
Yep,
Thanks,
exactly.
Marsha P.
Thank you.
Thank you to that Brit.
Yes, thank you.
Let's change subjects abruptly and completely and get back to you and how amazing you are. Tell us all about this beautiful display copy book on the table.
This is The Bones Beneath My Skin. This was a book that was originally released in 2018 before I was picked up by Macmillan and Tor. And after the success of The House in the Cerulean Sea and Under the Whispering Door and In the Lives of Puppets, they said, hey, what do you have in your back catalog that we could publish?
And I said, so many.
Right,
things.
so many. But I said, here's the Green Creek series, which has emotionally devastated many people, and I'd like to do that to more people. But there's also this book called The Bones Beneath My Skin that I wrote that is very near and dear to my heart, because it is about the weirdness and curiosity of this world and many worlds beyond it. And I love the fact that I got to basically write a queer action movie. I got to write an action movie with queer characters in the lead, because that's something we never get to see in any form of film or anything like that. Could you imagine if Die Hard, Bruce Willis got his boyfriend and saved him instead of like heterosexuality? I mean, come on. How cool would that have been?
In the inevitable film or television adaptation, do you have dream casting in mind?
Well,
where you get whoever you want, all the money?
I just want to put Lee Pace in everything that we do.
Yes.
Because he is a tall drink of water. And he is first and foremost the person I would cast as Arthur in The House in the Cerulean Sea. He would be my Arthur, and Harvey Guillen from What We Do in the Shadows would be my Linus.
Oh my, you've ruined me.
I know, but it's queer people in queer roles doing queer things.
I mean, and I don't know if you could have chosen two more beautiful
I know.
You've just inspired
a
whole new set of fan fiction.
I don't talk about that stuff really ever publicly, so that's like one of the first times I've said that out loud, that I would love for them to do it. So if they're watching, hey, call me. It's
Yeah.
cool. It's cool.
Hey, book talk. You love TJ and his work. Let's make this a thing. How many cups of coffee do you drink in a day, and what is your writing routine like?
0 cups of coffee because I have ADHD and you do not want to see me on caffeine. And my writing routine is I start writing typically at 7:30 in the morning and I go to as late as noon. And then I stop writing, I get on a stationary bike for an hour, and then I plot out what I'm going to do the next day while I'm on that stationary bike. So I'm getting really nice legs and I'm thinking forward. It's really good.
What's your relationship like with book talk? Because particularly House in the Cerulean Sea is a beloved staple of book talk. Do we love her or are we afraid of her?
I think that anything that helps spread the awareness of reading is valid and important and necessary. Sure, are there bad faith actors on that? But there is in everything that happens in the world. Look, the reason that the House in the Cerulean Sea grew as successful as it did was because people kept talking about it. It took 8 months for it to debut on the New York Times bestseller list, and there it stayed for the next 8 or 9 weeks because people kept talking about the book. There is nothing better than when you find something that you adore, that you read, you just want to shove that on everybody else to get them to read it too. And that just happened with thousands of people on Book Talk who said, hey, we love this book. And you know what? Thank you for that, because honestly, the biggest boon to my career ever since the beginning has always been word of mouth.
Somewhere Beyond the Sea came out last year.
Yes.
Any chance of a three-peat? This is me fishing
Yeah.
because I have read your answers.
I can, since I did talk about this on tour, because I went on a huge tour, the Cerulean Chronicles tour, and spoke to groups of thousands of people at a time. And I did tell them Chronicles seems to imply more than 2, doesn't it?
Does.
So I can say that there will be a 3rd and final book. Don't ask me when, because I have other things.
Which can mean literally anything.
Right. I have other things that I'm doing first, but I can say that it is 5 years later, setting 5 years later, and the main character will be 12-year-old Lucy. Yeah.
Oh,
no. Because there's something that I've
Never think
always
about that
wanted
for
to,
the
there's
summer.
something that I've always wanted to talk about in these books that I haven't been able to, and that is what happens when your real parent comes back. And who's Lucy's real dad? He's the devil. It writes itself.
Oh no! I'm
So
gonna
we'll
be
see what happens.
Thinking
We'll see what
about
happens
this for
with
the
it.
rest of my life until
Yeah.
soon comes.
Right. I did not originally I did not plan on writing the sequel in the first place, but then when I started, I realized I had an idea for a 3rd too that could wrap everything up. But I like how much time there was between Cerulean Sea and Somewhere Beyond. That was 4 years.
Yeah.
I like that because, think about where we were in 2020 versus where we were in 2020. I don't know if it's better.
Think about 2019, the before times.
Right, the before times and all of that. So I like the fact that my younger audience is growing with the stories. And so, somebody who was 10 when they read Cerulean Sea was 14 when they read Somewhere Beyond the Sea. They might be 18, 19, 20 by the time they read the 3rd and final book, and that is a lifetime.
Oh, so you're just raising a generation of readers.
That's what I
for
want to
us.
do. If J.K. Rowling can do it and turn into what she did, then I can do it and make sure that we go in the opposite direction. That is what we want to do. We want to make sure that young people, even if they are not, even if they're straight, we want to make sure that young people know that kindness and empathy and hope is the way to go rather than vitriol and anger.
And lastly, but not leastly, I would love to ask, what are you reading right now?
Oh my
In
goodness.
all your infinite free time.
I am reading, I'm totally probably gonna forget the author's name, but I'm reading a novella right now. It is called Victorian Psycho.
Yes!
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
It is, I am halfway through it. I started reading it before I came down to ECCC, and I, just this morning, or last night, I was reading it before I went to bed. It is so. Oh, I love horror,
It's
so I'm
so
good
scary.
with that. But it is so good. Is it about a governess of sorts in Victorian England who is brought in to look after this really bitterly gross family, but they don't know that she is, as the title suggests, a psychopath, and it is remarkable. It is chilling.
The way it unspools is really well done.
It is because, again, it's a shorter work. I think it's 198 pages, and I'm reading it so slowly because I'm just luxuriating in the language, but also I'm just waiting for her to do when she snaps, and I cannot wait for that to happen.
Oh my gosh. The next time I see you, we're going to talk about
Okay,
it.
good. I'm very excited to see how it ends. It was recommended to me randomly, and I picked it up, and I first started reading it, and I was like, it's very rare that I get jealous about other people's writing. I'm seething with jealousy at this author because she is just extraordinary. It's extraordinary.
Fantastic. TJ KLUNE, thank you so much for joining us here in the Popverse.
Thank you so much for having me. I'll hope to see you guys next year.